I'll unmute myself. Add my controls. Let me go ahead and admit her. Oh,
Perfect.
like you admitted her. Okay, great. Cool.
Ready?
All right, yeah, I am.
Awesome. All right, ladies, how are we doing this morning? Good. I'm glad that you are all here to participate in the Golf Genius beginner video. My name is Maddie Kern. I offer CGA. I do course rating and handicap services, so you guys will be receiving a lovely presentation from me and Aaron Greca later this afternoon, or later this morning, I believe. Anywho, for Golf Genius, this is Justin Scott. He is our Golf Genius representative. So we'll be receiving a lovely presentation from him today. So real quick, if you have any questions, please wait until he has like a question slides or a break. And for those joining on Zoom, there is a little messaging box at the bottom. So if you can type in your questions there, I am more than happy to speak them out when that time comes. So enjoy this presentation.
Great. Thank you, Maddie. Hello, everyone. Again, my name is Justin Scott. I am the Golf Genius Northwest Region Account Manager. So I cover the 9 states up in the Northwest region of the United States and also 4 provincials in Canada. I don't want to see anybody leave this room, but this will be a 101, a very beginner presentation of Golf Genius. So if you have used Golf Genius in the past and you're looking to get some more information regarding leagues, certainly don't have any issues with you going and viewing another session that may be more beneficial to you. But this is going to give you a very brief overview of kind of how the inner workings of Golf Genius work. We only have 45 minutes. Unfortunately, those of you who have worked with Golf Genius, I could probably spend a full day going over all of the applications that are encompassed within the software. So I'm going to give everyone a general overview. Again, I'm going to try and keep it to hopefully 35 minutes or so. We're already 5 minutes into it, so we can save some questions for Q&A. I will be here in between sessions and close to most of lunch, and then I have to get on a flight. But if you have any questions, certainly come see me if we don't get to those within this presentation. I'm going to hide this. And normally I like to walk around, but since I'm on Zoom, I have to kind of stay here. So I kind of like to walk the room, but I will be at my computer for this presentation. Some things that we are going to go over today. We're going to do a brief introduction of myself, give you a little bit introduction. We're going to go over the help tab, which is very beneficial. We're going to look at the customer center for some of those of you who are customer managers. Those of you who are league managers don't have access to this customer center, so I will briefly go over this just so it doesn't occupy the time if it doesn't apply to you. And then we're going to look at how to actually set up a quick event in building a roster, generating pairings, building a tournament, printing material, entering in scores, displaying those results, posting scores, and then pushing information to the portal for player viewing. If we have time, I'm going to go over Golf Hub, which is a new feature that we've released within the last couple of years that may be beneficial to you and your facility for registration and or informative information that we can push to the CGA to try and increase participation at your facility. And then, like I said, if we have any time for questions at the end, we'll certainly do that. So again, quick introduction. My name is Justin Scott. I've been a PGA member for the last 20 years. I've worked in Colorado, Wyoming, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Florida. I currently live in Western Wyoming, so I'm not too far, but I did work at the Breckenridge Golf Club for about 8 years at the beginning of my career. I've been with Golf Genius for 7 years now. The first 2 years I was on the support team, where if you clicked on the help tab and you need some immediate support, you would get me and I would communicate back and forth with you to hopefully solve the problem that you've been faced with. In the last 5 years, I've been an account manager where now I'm a little bit more engulfed in trying to help facilities utilize the program, be more proficient, and hopefully try and triage some of the support tickets that our support team would receive. Again, worked in multiple facilities, outside service, assistant professional, golf professional, so certainly know what entails tournament management, and also the other facets of, you know, a professional's role. So just a quick introduction about myself. No need to move any further there. I am going to go back and forth from this PowerPoint to the Golf Genius software. So my apologies, I will have to kind of move away from the PowerPoint and get into Golf Genius. But those of you, let me ask those of you, by raise of hands, how many of you have worked within Golf Genius before? Okay, about half, and about half of you are just kind of getting started. Those of you who have, how many are customer managers, or do you know if you are a customer manager? Couple, okay. So, and the rest of you have been league managers assigned to a specific league or event by your head professional? Okay. It looks like Clarissa did raise her hand in the back. I'm not sure if she has a question. There was a hand raised on that Zoom chat. Okay, fantastic. Hey, thank you. Fantastic, I love it. So within the Help tab, this is going to be a great way for you to try and educate yourself within the software. We have live training, which we conduct on a weekly basis of different events or different facets of the Operation 101, maybe Golf Hub, maybe a Scorecard Composer webinar. We also have a knowledge base, an extensive knowledge base with over 800 articles that also we have some pre-recorded webinars. So if you can't attend the live training, we give you the ability to view these webinars at your own time. And then if you get into a situation where you really have a problem and you need some immediate assistance, we have the Contact Us feature. You ask that I need to contact Golf Genius within 3 to 5 minutes. One of our customer support representatives will be able to see that request. And then upon that request, you have an internet chat back and forth to hopefully resolve your problem. We know that golf is not a Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 operation. So we certainly have 24/7, 364-day support besides Christmas, where you can always get in touch with one of our customer service representatives. Let me go ahead and get Brendan here. Sorry about that. He's out of here. So if you were to do that, again, this is my apologies here. Over here on the right-hand side is where the Help tab is. So if I were to click on this Help tab, I'm going to be sent to a knowledge base where the most relevant articles will be here on the right-hand side. Again, if I need some training, it will push me to our training link where we have multiple different webinars available. Again, 101 training, league setup, 201. It's very seasonality. Right now, we don't have Ryder Cup training going on right now, but in September and October, we would certainly have a live webinar that would go over the Ryder Cup. Obviously, if you needed to search for a webinar, we would ask that you type in webinar into the search bar, and that would give you a number of our pre-recorded webinars. Again, and also contact us, where this would give you direct contact to our Golf Genius support staff. So we try to let people, self-help is certainly good. Whenever somebody comes to me with a question and I don't know the answer, I'm going to our knowledge base, and I'm going to search that knowledge base and try and read through that article to understand how I need to go about solving the problem that I've been faced with. So that is our Help tab, very beneficial there. The Customer Center, again, I will briefly go over this, but this is the main dashboard page if you are a customer manager where you're sent to, where you can build events and leagues. You can update your master roster from GIN. You can change default settings under your customer settings, or you can change your default portal. We can build out directories. We can also, control season management. So those of you who are not not customer managers, you are going to need to have your customer manager build out your event. You're going to need them to build out your league. You may need to ask them to refresh your master roster from GIN, because you may have some ladies who have joined your facility and they need to be populated into the master roster so that you can pull them into your event or your league. So again, I'm not going to touch on this in great detail because it sounds like most people in the room are league managers, but just know that this is the dashboard if you are a customer manager to perform these functions. There's really nothing wrong with being a customer manager as long as you are comfortable with your professionals at your facility, just letting them know that, hey, I'm not going to go in and mess with the men's league, or I'm not going to go into your member guest and make any changes. So if you need access to this customer center, certainly ask your professional staff, and they would certainly possibly give you permission to become a customer manager so that you have controls over this setting right here. Got some ladies showing up late today. Sorry, ladies, I didn't mean anything by that if you were on the call. 24 of them, I'm gonna be in trouble. Moving on, we are gonna now go into event creation. This is what we do with Golf Genius, right? You know how to get on the golf course, you know how to, play your game, but we need to work on building out an event so that we can build a roster, so that we can create pairings, again, generate printed material, score the event, post those results, and then display that information onto the portal. So this would kind of be a good exercise in the fact that we've got about 20 minutes or so to see how easy it is once you understand the navigation. And that's all Golf Genius is. It's all navigation. I'm sure most of you have probably worked in a work environment where you've had to learn some sort of computer software application. Well, after understanding the navigation, it's easy, right? So if you sat me in front of one of your systems, I would probably fumble around, but after you taught me what I needed to do and how to go about gaining the knowledge of that particular software, it certainly becomes easier to manage. Same thing with Golf Genius. So try not to be intimidated. That can be hard at times, but the only thing that's really going to corrupt your event is if you were to remove a player from the roster, delete scores, and you don't have a record of those scores, or delete a round. Anything else we can change on the fly. I set up a tournament incorrectly. Okay, fine, we can change that. I put the round date on the wrong date. Okay, fine, we can change that. So just know that once you get in here, there are only a few things that are detrimental, and those are, again, removing a player from the roster, not having scores that may have been deleted, and possibly deleting a round, because then you lose that information. So again, you can see here on this dashboard over here on the right-hand side, this is what I'm going to get into here in just a moment. But we are going to, work on building an event roster. An event and a league, actually, let me kind of explain the difference here between an event and a league. And then for those of you ladies who are coming in late to this meeting, note that this is being recorded. So if you did miss a few of the pieces of the introduction, you can certainly go back and view these. But you can see here's what we do. And you don't have to do these all in this order. But for me, this is kind of the order that I would normally do. Building a roster, adding rounds, creating your pairings, building a tournament, generating printed material, entering scores, displaying results, and then posting those scores. This is kind of the flow that we would do. Now, some people do it differently, and you may be going back and forth within some of these steps based off of, maybe I need to add a player at a later point in time because they didn't sign up initially, but certainly we might need to get them signed up after the fact. So this is kind of what we're going to do within the event creation. And, again, it is just so you can see Golf Genius. A lot of presentations, they're not in the software, but I feel like with Golf Genius, well, it is a software program. We need to show you what is available and what is within the software, just to give you an idea, an understanding of how to navigate the program. So up here at the top, notice the customer center was very different, but we have our tabs up here at the top. I like to, again, work from left to right. Event, golfer, calendar, rounds, apps tab. If you do get on a call with me, I might be like, hey, let's go to the events tab. Well, that's what we some call it a menu. I call it a tab. We also have a dashboard view down here. you can find some information in the dashboard as well as finding information in the events tab. I do apologize, I am on the premium product. I probably should have been on the club product, but the functionality still works the same. Notice here, I've got an event roster here, where if I wanted to try and add players to my event roster, I certainly could. And then under my golfers tab, well, I've got another option here for an event roster. So again, it's just two places or multiple places. And some people say, well, you give me all these options to go to the same place in different avenues. Yes, we do, whether that's correct or incorrect, that's how it is. And you're going to get comfortable with the navigation based off of how you utilize the software. So under our events tab, there's not much here in regarding an event. If I needed to change some things from my event profile that was built in the customer center, maybe I'm playing in threesomes as opposed to foursomes, I can change all that information on my event profile. Maybe I need to change the course that we're playing. Maybe you're taking your ladies to a different facility. We may want to change our course details. The event profile, not much here in regards to setting up the tournament other than some of your settings. And then off in our advanced training, we will talk about these multi-round tools that deal more with league environments, with multi-round tournaments, maybe a bracket tournament, things of that nature. So not much under the events tab for a specific one-round event. Under the golfers tab, we need to get golfers into the roster. And we have a number of different ways that we can get golfers into the roster. We can import them from your master roster, and this is what has been downloaded from Gin. So when you do a Gin refresh, you've got your ladies and men who are in this roster, and we can bring those golfers into the roster by importing them from the master roster. We can also manually add golfers to the roster. Very simple, just click on manually add golfers, add Justin Scott, put in his Gin, and off you go. And then we have an upload roster from a spreadsheet, where it's just a spreadsheet that has to be formatted in a specific manner. And we fill out that spreadsheet and we upload that roster so that we get a player roster that we can now work with moving forward. There were some questions about Golf Hub. I'm not sure if anyone posted those. We will post that. I will focus on that at the end, but Golf Hub is just another way that we can add a registration feature where maybe you post this Golf Hub page onto your website, and then golfers can register into a roster via an online registration form. The premium version does have online registration, where you can certainly build out a customizable registration form, and then golfers are populated into the roster that way as well. And then for those of you who are on premium, we're not going to touch on that, but that is within your registration center where you set up a registration form. You ask certain custom fields of these players that you would like to obtain that information, and that builds the roster out as well. So building out the roster, certainly under your golfers tab, we have a number of different ways to build out this roster. A quick note, we can communicate with your golfers via email and or text message if you're on premium. So if you want to communicate with your 16 ladies right now, I only have myself as an email address in there, but if you add email addresses for your players, you could certainly communicate with them a welcome to this event, or happy to have you, make sure that you plan to stay for dinner or lunch afterwards. So we can certainly communicate with your golfers based off of a valid email address or text or mobile device if you're on the premium package and you would like to utilize text messaging. Within the calendar tab, this is an easy one. I always like to do this one because it's super easy. We can add rounds. You're going to add rounds to an event. Maybe it's a 1-round event. Maybe it's a 3-round event. Maybe it's a 20-round league. We're going to add all of your rounds under your calendar tab. Not much here, but then as you can see, I've added a round. And under the tabular view of my calendar, well, here's my round 1 on March 6th. If I want to change the round date, you certainly can. We can certainly give it a particular name. Well, you know what? I made a mistake. It's not on March 6th. Okay, fine. No harm, no foul. You can always come in and change this round date if necessary. Or if you know that March 6th is going to be a foot of snow on the ground, we're going to move it postpone it for a week, you can always change your round date under the tabular view of the calendar. So your calendar tab, that's an easy one. I always like to go over that one. Super fun. You know, you guys can certainly navigate that calendar tab. But then we're going to get into the rounds tab. This is where the lion's share of all of your work will take place within a league, where we are going to create our pairings. We're going to build our tournaments, generate our printed materials, enter scores, and possibly push that information to the portal. So you can see here, there's a lot going on. Actually, I take that back. I need to segue back one moment. Under your golfers tab, access GIN to update your handicap indexes. We are certainly going to want to update indexes to get to the most current index or an index on a particular date or time. Under your golfers tab is where we're going to access GIN to update indexes. You certainly will want to do that. Maybe it's 2 days ahead of time before the event. Maybe it's the morning before the event. But this is the tab where you would access GIN. Let me click on that real quick just so that you can see what that UI looks like. And you can see here, we've got all our players with their GIN numbers. We can certainly update on a current index, or we have some other options to update indexes based off of specific parameters. So that's certainly one. There is a feature in there, kind of going a little bit deep, but we can automatically update indexes on a certain date or certain time. That's just another feature in the event profile. But if you don't have that set, you will certainly need to make sure that you update those indexes from GIN so that you have the proper playing handicap for your players. Okay, so we're going to quickly move into creating pairings. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this just because, hey, you know what? He went way too fast and I forgot what he said about creating pairings. Fine. Go to the help tab. Our first article that's going to come up, create new pairings. So if I get ahead, if something doesn't resonate, we have that help tab to hopefully get you the information that you need to create pairings. With creating pairings, we have a number of different ways that we can create pairings automatically. We can manually create pairings. If you have a multi-round tournament, we can pair by previous results. And then if I were to automatically create pairings, we have a number of different scheduling options as well. Do you want to randomly create pairings? Do you want to create A-B pairings, A-B-C-D pairings? And then this is kind of a funny one. We don't really see this used very often, but we have the keep together and spread apart option. Nobody wants to play with Justin, so we're going to keep him and he's going to play as a single. Keep in mind, this keep together and spread apart will not apply if you choose an AB or ABCD, because how can you keep 4 A players together and have it be equitable? So this keep together and spread apart really only appears with random scores. Hopefully we're getting better with players being able to play with other players, but certainly know that that is an option if you have either some players who really want to play with one another or who can't play with one another. We can create teams, we can pair by teams, we can pair by player index. So just know that we have a number of options in how we can create these pairings. Okay, so in a league environment, if you're setting up a multi-round tournament or multi-week league, we do, if you were to continually randomize pairings, we do have a pairings tool algorithm, and that's where this company originated from, where it will look at the previous round's pairings and it will do its best so that you don't play with that particular person. Correct. ABCD can be a little bit different because there are some options with ABCD, but if you have your A player and your D player, well, you got the best player and the worst player. They may always play together. There are some options that we can kind of differentiate in that. But if you're choosing random pairings over multiple rounds, we will do our best to not pair you with that other player. And then I'm not going to go back to it just for sake of time, but there is in the events tab a played times analysis so that you can open that up and actually see who has played with who multiple times within a league season. So you can see here, I've got my pairings. This is my pairings page down here at the bottom. We've got a lot of different options. If you would think of add blinds to the left, deals with your players, where maybe I want to swap some players, I want to swap some pairs, I'm going to move some pairings around. This is how we can change our pairings if we need to say Bonnie needs to go late. Okay, well, Bonnie, we can switch Bonnie with Cheryl if we need to, or if we need to move an entire pairing group around, we can always change these pairings around with add blinds to the left. Swap holes to the right deals with your course and tee that you are assigning. So we always need to assign a course and tee. So if I were to set my course and tee, normally most leagues play from the same tee. So if I select all my players, I've selected all my players, and then we're going to play at Common Ground. We're going to play from the Gold Ladies tee. I apply those changes, and now I have assigned all of my ladies to that Common Ground Gold tee. Maybe you have some women who want to move up, or they want to move back. We can certainly change those tees on a individual basis, and we can push those ladies to a different tee. Maybe the red tee is a little bit closer. We've given them the ability to play from a closer tee. Great, we can move that around. We're going to use that slope and rating to generate a playing handicap for those particular players. If you have to hover over their name. There has been a request to maybe highlight the ladies based off the tee color, but right now you just have to hover over those ladies' names. And I'm going to kind of quickly go here. I knew I was going to run out of time. Setting your tee and shotgun, we can certainly set the tee time. Maybe it's an 8 o'clock tee time and we have 10-minute intervals. We're going to select all these players. We're going to apply these changes, and now we have our pairings created from 8 to 8:30 in 10-minute increments. Maybe we need to remove a player. Maybe we need to go back and edit our pairings after the fact. We can certainly do that. After you've created your pairings, under your rounds tab, we now have the edit existing pairings page. This pushes you back to that pairings page where you can add golfers, move golfers around, change your tee times, change your starting holes, anything you need to do with your edit existing pairings. Coming in and building in tournaments. This is where we're going to build, okay, what kind of tournament are we going to play? And the terminology here may be completely different than what you've used in the past, but we have to try and get you comfortable with, well, we have an event, and then we're building these tournaments within this event. And we can have as many tournaments as you would like, as long as they are compatible. So maybe we are going to do a 2 better ball of, maybe a 2 better ball of 4. Within this tournament screen, I like to go top down, left to right. So we're going to give it a name. What format? Obviously, we have a number of different formats: match play, stroke play, Stableford, quota. We have some skins games. We have some other specialty games that we can build, but we want to make sure that we build out the proper format. Well, what's the competition? Is it individual? Is it flighted? Is it pairs? Is it foursomes? This one I said it's a 2 better ball of 4. So yeah, we're going to make it a foursome versus a field competition. Well, on the balls option, we have a ton of different options here. This is the great part about Golf Genius. There are very few tournaments that we can't score. Obviously, this one would be a 2 better ball of 4. Someone did put a question about cha-cha-cha. I don't know if they're in the room or not, but obviously we do have a cha-cha-cha format that we can just select, and we would use that to score the appropriate event. We're just going to do a 2 better ball of 4 here. How many holes are we playing? Is it a 9-hole league? Is it an 18-hole league? We're going to specify the number of holes that we are going to score. And then are we going to score it at net, gross, and are we going to give any type of handicap percentages that we would take away from those players? And then do we want to add any tie breaking? Normally USGA 9631 or most to least difficult hole are what we see chosen most often. But notice we've got a ton of tie breaking options that can be selected. If you have a purse and points, you can put that purse and points in ahead of time, or we can always put it in after the fact, after the, pardon me, We can always put that in after the fact, after the round has been completed. You don't know how many players are going to show up. You're not sure what your purse is. You don't have to put it in here. But if you have an idea of what that purse and points is, you can certainly do so. A quick best practice here, just know because I have made this a foursome versus field competition. If I were to put $200 in here for the purse, that's going to be $200 divided by 4. We're looking at the competition, 4 players, $200, $50 per player. So that's kind of, sometimes people, well, what do I put in here? Do I put in $50? No, that would be $12.50 per player. $200 would give $50 to each one of those participants. So you can have as many tournaments in here. Maybe I wanted to build a skins tournament. Maybe I wanted to also do an individual stroke play. Okay, great. We're going to do a 2 better ball of 4. We could also do a stroke play competition as well. Keep in mind, the only thing you can't do is you can't have competitions that don't fit. You can't do a 2 better ball of 4 and a scramble in the same round. It's just not compatible. How can you play your own ball and play a scramble? We've got some user score tournaments. I know sometimes you do some closest to the pins or longest putts, closest to the line. We can certainly use these user score tournaments. And then once those placards come in off the golf course, you as a manager would enter in that particular player's name who won that particular user score tournament is what we call it. So that's the tournaments page. We've created our pairings, we've added our tournaments. Then we get into printed material. I am not going to get into printing scorecards because that's another 30-minute conversation. But just know that we have a number of scorecards that are automatically built into our community center. So if you don't want to build a card, or maybe your facility already has cards built, we can certainly use some of these templates in the community. Or we also have the ability to bring in those scorecards from your community. They are now yours and can certainly be edited and used. Notice I've got a Lone Ranger scorecard. So I've got that built out. You can kind of see that I've got the holes highlighted so that these are the holes that the Lone Ranger would need to score on. And then we can put in those other scores for the better ball of the other 3 players. We've got a great scorecard composer webinar. It's about 30 minutes long. If you were to type into the help tab, type in scorecard composer webinar, that would give you some great information on how to customize your scorecard. Not going to go into that today. Also with cart signs under a report center, you can build out cart signs. You can build out pairing sheets, a number of different pieces of printed material that you may need to run this particular event. And then if you can't find something in our basic reports, our community report center has reports that have been built by other facilities around the country. There's about 1,200 in there. They can be filtered so that you're looking for a cart sign. You can filter that down and view that information. Handicap analysis is a great piece of information. When I was back in green grass, I called them my problem children. Hopefully no one in here is named Bonnie Johnson. But if Bonnie Johnson was in here and she's wondering, hey, I'm a 14.6, why am I a 20? If you come into the handicap analysis, we will show you exactly based off of the WHS scoring system, how we generate this particular playing handicap. You know, yes, we're playing a hard course, 76.7 rating, very hard gold ladies tee. Well, shouldn't I be a 24? Well, no, Bonnie, we took 80% of your, we took 80% of your course handicap. So now that's why you're a 20. So this is a great feature for not only you to just be confident with the setup, it also just allows you the comfort to know that you can relay this information to your players that, yes, this is why your playing handicap is the way it is. It's not just this arbitrary number that you have chosen. And if Bonnie were to give you some business, we can always adjust her handicap down a little bit further if we want to. Sorry. You made me mad. You're now 16. Hey, jokes are working today. I like that. Thank you. Thank you. I mean, it could just be sympathy, but I appreciate that. So now that we've got all this information, then we're going to enter scores. For those of you who are on the TM Club platform, we're going to enter scores via the enter scores page, where we would just come in here. Those scores come in off the golf course, and you're going to enter in those scores for those players. Those of you on the premium, we do have live mobile scoring where with a GGID, golfers can enter that GGID onto their phone and enter in scores via their mobile device. And in real time, these scores will populate into the scoring rack as well as to other areas of the TV display, the portal, the mobile device as well. Those of you who are on premium and don't use live mobile scoring, I would certainly advise you to try it, because who wants to enter in 100 scores at the end of a round when that can already be done for you? It may be unofficial, but at least they are entered in there for you. Great feature here, random scores. Well, you know what? This is my first time using Golf Genius. I'm not sure if this is going to score properly or not. We can always enter in these random scores. And now with these random scores, we can make sure that our leaderboard is going to compute correctly. As a professional, there was nothing worse than having somebody come to me and tell me that their score was wrong based off of an incorrect setup. That's on me, right? I didn't do it correctly. And with these random scores, you can certainly have the ability to test this out to see if my 2 better ball of 4 competition comes out correctly. And now you can see, okay, 62 under, we might need to check these playing handicaps of these ladies here. I mean, but that's pretty impressive. These are all random scores, obviously, but I don't know if you can see here a 35 handicap shot 85. Great, way to go, Barb. But you can see here, we are now showing scores over par, under par, or equal to par with circles and squares. And now under here in the bottom, you can see with this net 5, on a par 4, I've got a 4 for a 2 and a 4 for a 3. So we did do this correctly, where we do have a total of 5 for our 2 better balls of 4, and the net is correct. So within these random scores, I am comfortable to know that once I do conduct this tournament, that the results will be accurate. We have a number of different ways we can display this information. Pardon me, let me get back to this page here. We can put this information on a TV display. So if you are in the clubhouse or the women's locker room and you want this information to be displayed, we can certainly display this information. And then we would have this information displayed for your players. An Amazon Fire Stick is what we recommend to plug into the back of a smart TV. You enter the round GGID, and this is displayed. For TM Club, it's normally just your final results, but if you're on premium and you're using live mobile scoring in real time, you would see where those players are on the golf course in relation to par and in relation to those other players. Additionally, we can generate a PDF. If you want to post something in your ladies' locker room or you want to attach it to an email, we can generate a PDF, and then we can certainly print that out. And last but not least, the portal. This is something that I think is underutilized by a lot of facilities for whatever reason, but this is a great one-stop shop for all your players. Do I want to view the tee sheet? Do I want to view results? Do I want to view analytics? Do I want to dress up my homepage with some pictures and or photos and or text? This is just a great way to get information out to your players. There's a number of different ways that we can get this out to your players. Normally, a URL link that is embedded somewhere on the website is a great way to do that. They can also enter in a GGID into Golf Genius, or we also have the ability to register golfers to enter in an email and password. Don't get too in depth on that. If you want to discuss that after this session, we can have a discussion as to how we want this to be displayed to your players. And then last but not least, we did have some questions about posting scores. Certainly, we would like to see the manager post those scores to GIN. So after that round is played, those scores are posted. I think probably Aaron and Maddie might be giving some WHS updates. But now with these new changes, all you need is 9 holes or more to be able to post a score. A 9-hole score gets differentiated into an 18-hole total. Between 10 and 17 holes, they scale that up to a score that has a differential. So just know that these scores will be posted. But if your players post a score in the GIN kiosk and you post scores as well, it's going to be a duplicate score posting. So you need to make sure that you communicate with your ladies. We're going to post your scores. Don't go to the GIN kiosk and post your scores on your own, because there will be a double posting and that would need to be edited. All right, doing pretty good. Might not have time for questions. We'll see here. Last thing here, on Golf Hub, I will just give a quick PSA on Golf Hub for those of you who are going to be attending the next session. We're going to discuss this a little bit more, but this is a new feature for TM Club and TM Premium users, where we can configure a digital flyer to promote your events, to display your event details, possibly to add registration and or registration with payments. And the one thing that the CGA has done is, if you build this Golf Hub page, and it's configurable, it's really easy to configure, doesn't take too much time. If you configure this page and you publish it, it publishes to the CGA's aggregated hub, which is on their website as a member benefit. So if, let's say I'm moved to the area, I have no idea about any playing opportunities, I could go to this aggregated hub and give a map view and see what events are available within my area. Okay, well, there's a ladies club at Murphy Creek. Great. I'm out in Aurora. Perfect. I can click on that particular hub page and then see the information that is available or about that particular league, decide whether I want to join that league, and then I can certainly register for that league. So you can publish this information, have it pushed to your website if you'd like. You can have it published to social media. You can push it to the CGA's aggregated hub. It's just another way that we are trying to promote golf in the best way that we can. So there is, again, a webinar on Golf Hub. If you'd like to know some more information about Golf Hub, you want to speak to me about it further, there were some people who did fill out a survey. We will be following up with them. I'm not sure if any of you are in that room and the room who apply to that, but again, something that we're really excited about, just to try and increase the participation within the golf industry and just get exposure to your events and leagues. So I got 1 minute. And any questions? I know we have about a 15-minute break, but I certainly can pose any questions. If any of you need to get up and take a break, that's fine, but I'll certainly stay. I have one over here and then one back here. It will. I'm not sure if GIN you can do a percentage in GIN. You can. Okay. So yeah, it will exactly match, because we work very closely with GIN to make sure that the handicap analysis, the WHS, now there's like an infinite number of characters after your decimal. We'll use that to generate your course handicap. And then if you're generating a percentage of that, we'll reduce that down. It'll still have all of those extra characters after the decimal point, and then we'll round accordingly. But it should. And if you find that it's not, contact us and we'll just make sure that it is correct.
So a league can have different levels. That portal, we've never been able to customize a page. We're talking add pictures and information. We're limited.
With the TM Club, you're right. You have one welcome page. Well, I guess you're probably right. I might not have explained that correctly. With TM Club, yes. With the TM Club, you have one welcome page that is a collage page, but then you can add those other widget pages to show results, to show team league standings. We just don't, with the TM Club, you don't have the other content where you could upload a PDF or a text page or multiple collage pages. That is part of the premium features. Right. Right. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Got two more back there.
Can you just real quick, the difference between a league manager and
Okay. Customer manager has access to the entire platform. They can go into league A, B, C, and D. They can refresh the master roster from GIN. A league manager only has access to their particular league that the customer manager has given them access to. Once you're in the league, you can do anything you want to within that league, but you are limited to that one specific league that you've been given access to.
Go in and you activate them. They say register. We're getting a few of them that come up and say, what, 3 out of 8. That say, not.
Registered, not invited or something? Okay. Okay, so this is a great question as to how to access Golf Genius. What she's talking about is we can give, I'm just standing over here by the mic. We can give golfers the ability to access their league or leagues via an email and password by asking them to be registered. And where that is, it is under the apps tab, register golfers to use the event portal. So if I were to send this out to your players, all of your players who have not created a profile within Golf Genius are going to get an email saying, hey, you've been invited to the 2024 Women's Golf Summit Beginner League. Please create a password that's associated with your email. Those players that do create a password will show registered. Those players that have gotten the email and have ignored that email to create a password will show invited but not registered, or whatever that wording is. So you're going to know, okay, well, I invited Bonnie, but she didn't answer the invite. So we could always re-invite her again, and we would only send the email to those players who have not accepted an invite. And the good thing about this is, let's say you play in the 2023 league. You got registered, you created an email and password, fine. Then you go to the 2024 league, you get populated into that roster. Then you go to register these golfers again. Because you already have a profile, the only thing that you're going to get a congratulatory email saying, hey, congratulations, you've been registered to the 2024 Ladies League. And then what you're going to have when you go to golfgenius.com, you're going to have a drop down where you could view the 2023 league or the 2024 league. There is no new password that needs to be created once you've created a profile in Golf Genius. So what I would suggest when you go in there, if you see someone invited, not registered, or whatever that wording is, go to the apps tab, register all golfers to access the league. Then they would get another email to try and create a profile. You don't have to, but it's just that's what that wording is that you see in their profile. Nope. Nope. Well,
Then if they want to see the results, they did not play Wednesday, but they are interested in who won. If they go to Golf Genius, can they see that?
sure. Again, however we give them access, by registering them, by giving them the URL, which is found in your dashboard. You know, this would be something that you may want to embed in your website somewhere. You know, this is the URL that you would want to embed, that they could go and click on that URL link, or they could go to golfgenius.com and enter this GGID, or maybe we want to change it to be something a little bit more representative. We could certainly do that as well. One more question, and then we'll probably let everyone take a break.
Access to years so that people don't get confused. If they accidentally are looking in 2023 and it's 2024 and they get wound up because they can't find it.
I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe if you archive that previous year, if you put it in the archive category, it might not show, but I'm not 100% sure. All right. Well, you guys have about 10 minutes of a break. I appreciate everyone's time. If you're staying here for the next one, great. If not, enjoy your other session. Thank you.